that the study of the Prophet became central to understanding how he moved to establish Islam in Arabia is the same way we would have to move to establish Islam in America. And then, as I studied, Elijah Muhammad, before he departed from us, said to me, he said, brother, try to find a way to unite with the Muslim world. These are instructions to me. He didn't tell me how to do it. He said, find a way. So I was diligently searching for a way to unite us with the entire Muslim world. And I found that in the very things that he taught was a key to unite with the Muslim world. For instance, Farad Muhammad gave Elijah Muhammad 104 books to study. The best of those books, Elijah Muhammad said, was Quran. He gave him a Quran, Farad Muhammad, gave him a Quran in Arabic and told him to read. And he said, but I can't read, I don't understand the Arabic. But he was trying to say to Elijah Muhammad, you are following in the path of the Prophet. Because he was told by the angel Jibreel, read. Mm-hmm. And there was no book for him to read, and he couldn't read at that time. So then Farad Muhammad gave him a Quran in English that he could read. 104 books, Elijah Muhammad told me, were all about different aspects of the life of the Holy Prophet. So I asked myself, why would he give Elijah Muhammad books to study on the life of the Prophet if the Prophet's life did not have supreme meaning for how to go about establishing Islam in America? So I started there and changed the way we introduced ourselves when we came out to speak. We would say, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. So we would speak the same universal language that all Muslims speak. We used to have Ramadan during December, and we were severely criticized by Orthodox Islam. But if you study the Quran says if you're sick or you're on a journey, you can fast a like number of days. Well, here we are in America. We once were Muslims, but we were taken off of our faith by Western man and then made Christians. So we are on a journey back to Allah, back to the Prophet, back to Islam, and he wanted to make our journey easy for us, so he chose the month where the sun is shortest in its daylight hours, so that the fast of Ramadan would not be as difficult for us as it would be if we were following the Islamic calendar and all of the different months, etc., that we go through to perform Ramadan. So then I suspended Ramadan in the month of December. And I said we will fast with the entire Muslim world. Gradually trying to find ways. I remember, my dear brother, we had a mosque in New York. And after Brother Malcolm was assassinated, our mosque was firebombed. And Elijah Muhammad rebuilt it. And in the dedication of the mosque, he sent a tape. And he dedicated it by audio tape. And when I called him to thank him for the dedication, he says, "Oh, brother, that's not the real mosque." He says, "I want you to have a minbar that has 3 steps." And I wondered, well, what is a minbar? And of course, that's where the khatib delivers the khutbah. Well, he was gradually moving us to institute Salatul Jummah. So I instituted Salatul Jummah. And when we retrieved our national center, we set up a masala, and in that masala, a minbar that has 3 steps up, where the khatib sits and stands to deliver the sermon on Fridays. All of this I was doing to bring us ever, ever closer to what is called Orthodox Islam, without violating some of the principles and teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Okay. Do you think that race plays in any way a factor in the divide between the Sunni Orthodox perception of the Nation of Islam? And if so, how?
Well, race has played a part in the division among Muslims themselves. Some blacks do not feel comfortable during Salatul Jummah in certain masjids, where they feel that they are treated as less than they should. So, by our concentrating on black people, there are Muslims that say, well, this is un-Islamic because Islam is for everyone. True. But as you know, when the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, started his mission, he was in Arabia. And his mission was primarily to Arabs. Bilal was there. There were many blacks that were there. There were Christian Arabs that were there. There were Jews that were there in Arabia. But the Prophet, peace be upon him, taught each one of them, the Christians and the Jews, according to his knowledge of the Torah and the Injil. And he focused on the Arabian Peninsula and destroying the tribalism that had divided the Arabs. And he formed them into a nation, but not a nation just for Arabs. But that nation was to move out from Arabia and spread throughout the world, that there would be one nation. And that would be the nation of Islam. As the Holy Quran in 2nd Surah says, when Ibrahim and Ishmael raised the foundation of the Kaaba, they prayed and asked Allah to accept their work. And then Abraham prayed and raised up in them a nation of Muslims. So Prophet Muhammad, answering that prayer, raised a nation of Muslims. And whether it was Egypt, whether it was Pakistan, whether it's in China, it was only to be one nation, the nation of Islam, under Prophet Muhammad's guidance through his Khalifa. Okay, so we start like that. We start with a focus on black people because we're in a state of Jahiliyyah worse than the Arabs. Because the Arabs spoke their own language, they were in their own country, they were ignorant. And even though to The west of them was the Roman Empire, and to the east of them was the Persian Empire. They were not affected by the knowledge of either one of these empires. They were in a state of Jahiliyyah. The difference with us is we have been reared in America by an opponent of Islam. And we have been reared in a way that is against the law of Torah, of Injil, and Quran. And we have been allowed education by the Western standard of education. So we already think we know Allah, we know God, we know religion, we know Jesus. So Elijah Muhammad then has to empty the vessel of what it thinks it knows and then put in the vessel what Allah revealed. Prophet Muhammad didn't have that to do. He just had to pour the truth into an empty vessel that was ignorant but yet knowledgeable of its language, its culture, and its oral history. We were deprived of all of that, so it made the job of Elijah Muhammad much more difficult. But by the grace of Allah, we are accomplishing the task.